Hi, my name is Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here at Matsuricon 2024 with our very good guest, KoriOujo. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're doing just great. So how'd you get started in the world of streaming?
Oh man, so I actually had one of my friends kind of like come up to me and be like, "Hey Corey, do you know about this thing called VTubing?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Let me show you." So they showed me like this whole world of VTubing. And then they were like, "I'm showing this to you because Corey, I think you'd be good at VTubing." And I said, "I bet." So then within that day, I kind of like looked into it, and then within a week, I decided I was doing it, and then within a month, I was debuting as a VTuber. I would say what got me into like streaming and becoming a VTuber was just the idea of like having a platform to post my creative content. I used to make songs and like do fun things like that before, but VTubing gave me a place to actually post it. And then I also really like playing as a character. I used to be in cosplay, so I used to dress up and like kind of pose in characters. So being able to be a character on stream was really appealing to me. And then what made me stay with VTubing has really been the community. It's part of the reason why we're going to conventions, is because we want to connect with people and just have fun and make people smile, as corny as it is. So yeah, that's what got me into VTubing and why I'm staying in it.
No, I mean, it sounds like it's just a lot of good friendship made the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you happen to have the honor of announcing a baseball game at a major ballpark in America. How was it?
Oh my gosh, it was such a crazy, wild ride. So kind of how that happened was that I reached out to a lot of cons over the course of like several months. I reached out to probably over like 150 cons, and during that outreach, I had got in contact with this one event organizer called Anime Wonder. And initially, they're like, "Okay, what does it take to have Korea at a con?" Blah 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 blah. And they're like, "Okay, so we actually have another event on top of the conventions. We also have a baseball game." And initially, I'm like, "Wait, how am I supposed to be at a baseball game?" But then they explained to me that I could be on the Titantron basically, and I could do like sing the "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" song. And they also said like, "Yeah, so we know that Hololive is doing the collaboration with the Dodgers in July, but we want to be first." And I was like, "Bet, I'm your girl." So that's basically how that came about. And it was crazy because like they kind of like told me about it on like June 11th, and then by June 29th, like within the same month, I was in Frisco, Texas, and watching Corey on the big screen. So it was a really wild experience. It was such an honor to be able to do that. And it makes me really excited to be able to see like VTubers, not just myself, but like Hololive and just anyone else, like any VTubers out in the real world and kind of like in for lack of a better term, like invading like, these baseball stadiums and like IRL events. So it's really exciting.
No, I think it's awesome because John, our producer here, is a huge baseball fan.
Heck yeah.
So not only do you stream, but you're also a singer, as you mentioned, and you make your own songs. How has the reception been to your song, "The Prince," been for fans?
Oh, so my newest song, it's actually "The Price," and yeah, no, it's been no, you're good. I'm a princess, so it kind of makes sense, right? But yeah, so it's been really great. It's a little bit different than songs that I've produced in the past. So it's really neat to be able to have a kind of new, like it's a little bit more like trap, a little kind of rock. It's a little bit weird, but it fits my character. It fits like the kind of music that I do. So it's been really great. It's been exciting, and it's a little bit more intense, as you might see on the album artwork cover. It's a kind of intense artwork. So it's really cool. I am really excited because The Price is meant to kind of bridge the gap between like some of my old music and the new music. So I think The Price is really setting a good foundation for like what's to come with my music. I do have a second album coming out in like November, December, and it is more focused on like rock metal. But in classic Corey fashion, there's also like a rap song on there because I just kind of enjoy doing whatever I want to do. But I'm really excited about just being able to do music, and I love being able to share that with people. So it's been really great so far.
Awesome. So you said in your Get to Know video that you really are a raccoon in a princess's body. Where did this concept come from for being a VTuber?
Yeah, so my design, that's a great question. So the way that I came up with Kori as a character, and this was way back before I even got started, I really wanted to lean into like this idea of gap moe, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically your appearance doesn't match your personality. So basically, I knew that my personality was going to be a crazy, chaotic, loud one. And I was like, okay, what is the opposite of crazy, chaotic, loud? Oh, like an elegant, like regal ice princess. So that's why I kind of decided to stick with like, okay, the ice princess motif. But as I continued doing VTubing, I debuted, I started to build a community, and they kept calling me a raccoon because of my like crazy personality. So I decided to really incorporate that into like my lore, into just like my overall, VTuber design, which is why I have a raccoon now. His name is Ack the Rack, by the way. He's a good guy. But yeah, so that's kind of like why I leaned into that. My actual lore is a lot more deep than just being a raccoon that got isekai'd. I do have a visual novel game that I self-produced and I wrote and everything. So you could check that out if you really want to know the lore. But like my one sentence lore is indeed that I am a raccoon that got isekai'd into an ice princess's body.
Sorry, I had to stand up for a second. So going into this, you also, as the world of streaming and VTubing continue to evolve, how do you keep up with it?
It's a really great question. So as streaming and content creation evolves, I think the biggest thing is just research, seeing what is trending, seeing how the algorithms are changing, and having spreadsheets and Google documents of that research, of course, tracking all of that. But more importantly, I think what I want to make sure that I always do is just like to be happy and to have fun. I know that like it's a weird balance between like following trends and following algorithms and also just doing the things that you're passionate about. But as far as like I've been in VTubing for almost 3 years now, making content and whatnot. And I think I've really learned that at the end of the day, an audience is going to come no matter what you do. So you might as well do something that makes you happy and that attracts people that can like lean into the chaos or lean into like the fun things that you like to do. So yes, it is ever changing and it is important to kind of keep up with it. But more importantly, you have to have fun and you have to try to create content that you feel like attracts an audience that can best reflect like your happiness and your humor, I guess, at least for me. I need people that can laugh with me. So that's what's important to me.
Alrighty, and now again, you have an amazing 2.0 model, a 2D model. How'd you go from 1.0 to 2.0?
Oh man, yeah. So my first model was very like low budget or relatively low budget, and I feel like I just wasn't really represented well as far as like my character with the first model. So with the second model, it was really important for me to be able to have something that was like fun and unique, which is I'm able to turn my head 180, as you can probably see here. So I get to kind of crack my neck and eat some snacks on the side here. But yeah, so I wanted something unique with my rigging, and I also wanted something that reflected my like on-stream personality a little bit more, hence the raccoon. So the raccoon, it like I said, it really came out of like the community. The community kept calling me a raccoon, and I was like, why not just like have that on my model? So as much as I wanted something that was like elegant and regal, I also really wanted to incorporate the raccoon, which is why we have Ack here. So that's pretty much how that came about. It's definitely like a little bit higher of a budget that I had for this model because I finally decided like, yeah, I do want to stick with VTubing, so let me just invest in this a little bit more. But it's definitely been a journey. And I'm definitely hoping to, I know that one day I will get like another design that can lean again into the raccoon motif, but it's not going to be like a whole a whole new redesign, just kind of like leaning into the raccoon motif again. But we'll get there. I got to get a budget for that again, and I'm too busy going to cons, so.
Alrighty, and now you've worked really, really hard in the last 2 years to get to this point as an indie VTuber. What has been one of the hardest things to do as an indie VTuber to get to this point?
Yeah, I think it's really just been figuring out what I wanted to do. As like weird as that is, I feel like I've grown a lot as like a person, as a content creator. And it's really just been like, well, what is it that makes me happy about content creation? What can I do to really like make Kori shine while also like realizing like what makes me as a person behind Kori like happy. So I think the biggest struggle really has been trying to figure out like, okay, how much do I want to commit to this? Because I see this as a hobby even now, even though I'm like going to conventions and stuff like that. Surprisingly, I still see this as a hobby. You know, this is not my career. I don't necessarily want it to be, you know. So for me, it's just been like, how can I make this hobby not feel like such a chore in some ways? Because again, like content creation is it's a lot of pressure sometimes and it's very time consuming. So it's kind of just finding the motivation within yourself to stay in this. I feel like when I see a lot of other VTubers, like they rely so heavily on like community interaction and like numbers. You know what I mean? Like I have to have if I'm not successful unless I have 20 people watching me. Like that's like kind of the mindset that some streamers have. But the problem with that is that you're relying on other people for your own happiness. And I've really had to learn like I have to be happy with whatever I'm doing first and foremost because otherwise like I'm just going to be so upset and I'm going to be like relying on other people for my happiness and like that's not fair to them, that's not fair to me. So really it's just been like honing in on like what makes me happy, how can I lean into it, and then at the end of the day people will see how happy you are and they'll cling on to that, like they will come eventually. You just kind of have to like really figure that out first. So that's been like the biggest challenge for me. I feel like my first 2 years was really like figuring out what I want to do. And then this past year, it's been like, okay, now I know what I want to do. I want to interact with people at cons. I want to be face to face with people, and I want to yap on stream. So it's really been like figuring all that out. And this past year has been really eventful and amazing. And I'm truly blessed to have the community that I have now.
Alrighty, and just two really quick things. Where can we follow you past obviously streaming? And what message would you love to give to all the wonderful fans that are watching this interview or yourself while you're on stream?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so where you can find me, I stream on Twitch and YouTube, and I stream on currently I stream on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturdays at 8 p.m. EST. So you can find me multi-streaming on YouTube or Twitch. As far as messages, I keep smiling, be happy, be healthy. That's all I ask. You don't have to enjoy my content. There's always a lot of content out there. Go find something that you love and that makes you smile. And if you are looking to get into content, I hope that the content makes you smile first and foremost, as I said. And eat snacks, very important. Go dumpster diving at 3 a.m. with the raccoons. And I appreciate everybody. Thank you for all the support.
Kori, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so honored to have this opportunity.